We all know what this is. These, though, maybe not so much. Which sort of title, so let's get into it. Sigmund Freud, often considered the father of psychoanalysis, revolutionized how we understand the human mind. Born in 1856, Freud introduced concepts like the ID, ego, superego, which did shape early psychology. However, his most infamous theory, the Oedipus complex, was a bit messed up, so to say. What he said is that basically all boys subconsciously wanna, their moms and kill their dads. Just like Oedipus. However, Freud did help a lot with psychology, and it's still learned in schools to this day. So I think Sigmund can go in the D tier, yeah. For the two of you who don't know him, Socrates was a Greek philosopher during the 5th century BCE. His quirk was that he never wrote down anything. His student Plato did that, who will have his moment later. What Socrates did was ask questions, lots of them. His method, now known as the Socratic method, no shit, involved questioning assumptions to reveal contradictions, which looks a bit like this. This technique is pretty much the backbone of modern debating, and it's not just for philosophy. I mean, with AI, news, and Twitter, or X or whatever, we gotta question things more than ever now. So Socrates, he can go into S tier. Plato, yes, the Plato from before, was really into the nature of reality. He argued that everything we see is just a shadow of a more perfect version in an invisible realm of forms. According to him, a perfect chair exists somewhere, and every real chair is just a flawed copy. While this idea is interesting, and it has sparked lots of debates, we all know that there's no perfect realm. But credit where credit is due. If it were not for his original simulation theory, we probably won't have the Matrix. So Plato, you go into B tier. Developed in the 19th century by Franz Joseph Gall, phrenology claimed that skull bombs reveal personality traits. A bit like... It was wildly popular, mostly because of racists, but had zero scientific backing. Worse, it was used to justify racism and class discrimination, which I think we all know is a bad thing. Today, it's a textbook example of how scientific ideas can be dangerous and just nonsense. So this has to go into F tier. Aristotle, a student of Plato, yes, the student of Socrates, took a different approach to ethics. Instead of focusing on strict moral rules, he argued that we should develop good habits and strong character. Want to be courageous? Just practice bravery, bro. Want to be wise? Seek knowledge. This virtue ethics approach is a lot more human than other philosophical ideas. What he says is basically that if you are virtuous, you will know what to do. There's no need for strict rules around it. Which, looking at people today, we sure should need virtuous ones. The core message still stands, so A tier. Diogenes, a 4th century BC philosopher and a fucking Chad, believed that society was corrupt and artificial. Instead of playing by its rules, he lived in a barrel, mocked authority, and rejected material wealth. Once, when Alexander the Great visited him and asked him if he wanted anything, Diogenes just said, "Yeah, move, you're blocking my sunlight." His philosophy, cynicism, argued that happiness comes from rejecting materialism and embracing true nature. Now, when it comes to rating it, there's lots of truth in what's said, but the extent he went is not suitable for today's society, so sadly it has to go to C tier. Thales of Miletus, a pre-Socratic philosopher. He's often called the first philosopher because he was the first person we knew who tried to explain the universe without saying it's the gods. His idea was that Earth was flat and it was floating on water. Now, was he right? No, obviously. But he kicked off the entire scientific tradition of looking for natural causes instead of just saying Zeus did it. Good way of thinking, but it kind of aged like milk. Still, E tier. I think that's about enough for today. Let me know if you want a part 2 and subscribe.